All right, guys, flat bait season is getting here. It's starting to get started, and I'm going to talk to y'all just a minute today about the Black Label Hickster. The situations that I like to use it, the times that I choose it over a different style flat bait. Let's first of all talk about the setup that I like for the Hickster. I'm throwing the Hickster with all my small flat baits on the TFO 7'1" Resolve +1 rod. I like either a no higher gear ratio than a 6 to 1. If you like a 5 in the colder months, I get that. I typically use a 6 and just try to make myself consciously reel a little bit slower. And normally I'm going to use either 10 or 12 pound test high seas fluorocarbon line. Now the Hickster itself is the bait that of the flat bait family that has the most vibration. And the scenario that I'll use the Hickster in, to me, when it really shines, is when those fish, let's just take the back of a creek, for example, in the springtime. We've got some fish that are starting to stage. Those fish first pull in there, they get on the steeper stuff like channel swing banks. That's more to me, depending on watercolor, that's more to me the places I'll throw a little cliffy or a slim. That bait gets a little deeper than the Hickster, and it also vibrates a little bit less than a Hickster. Now, you get a bunch of rain and it warms up a little bit, those fish slide up onto the kind of the end of that channel swing where it first starts to flatten out, and they want to get on anything there that's hard, a piece of, a little vein of rock, maybe the end of a tree, an isolated stump, whatever. But the water's got a little more color to it, and the water's just a little bit warmer. That depends on what part of the country you live in. For us down here, it's at 53 to 55 range. If you go way up north, it may be 50 or even 48. But once those fish transition from the steeper stuff onto the beginning of the gradual flatter area, and the water's got some color to it, that's where I love the Hickster. The Hickster has a little more vibration, which helps in a little bit more colored water. The Hickster runs a little bit shallower than, say, a little Cliffy does. And the Hickster also has a steeper bill angle. That steeper bill angle helps it come through cover better. It helps it fish more like a square bill crankbait. It's going to not hang as much as a straight lipped flat bait is. But that's where the Hickster shines for me. This is the bone khaki color. It's one of my favorite colors this time of the year. It's just a dull, nothing about it's real bright. I'm a big fan of the duller colored baits in the winter months and the colder months of the year. I think that the bait fish just get a duller color. I don't know if you've ever looked at a brim and compared a January brim to a May or June brim. Your May or June brim are so much more vibrant than what your wintertime, December, January type bluegill are, and most all of your fish are. About the only exception to that is if you live on a lake that's full of grass. But that's the Hickster in a nutshell, one of my favorite colors. It's a great bait for this time of the year, and there's a situation on most all lakes that the Hickster will really shine. One thing I didn't say about the Hickster that I need to, the Hickster is also the flat bait that I love to throw in a body of water that has a lot of aquatic vegetation, like say a Gunnersville type scenario, or out in Texas, those lakes that have a lot of good vegetation. When those fish are in that vegetation, the extra vibration that the Hickster gives you enables those fish who are in that vibration to feel it better and come out. It will get them to come out and react to it better oftentimes. And it does run a little bit shallower, so a lot of times that grass is higher up in the water column, and it's hard to throw a slim or a normal flat side bait. The Hickster running a little bit shallower will help on those grass lakes. So if you live on those grass lakes, this is an ideal bait when those fish start to get in those drains and in those guts. They're in that pre-spawn mode. They've seen 10 million lipless baits. Show them something a little bit different. I think you'll be pleased with the results. Y'all let me know if y'all catch some fish. I'd love to see some pictures of some Hickster fish catches.